Right. And we're live.
Live. Happy December, everybody. December 1st, we're showing up.
Yep, we are. We said we were going to wear holiday attire, so here we go.
And a heads up, I do not have ugly Christmas sweaters. I may try to figure out how to get some ugly Christmas sweaters, but it's just not my jam, right? But Lenny apparently has plenty.
my wife is the queen of Christmas, and we have plentiful supply. So be on the lookout.
I certainly have several Santa hats because, Santa hats. Like this is on brand for me. That's on brand for you.
Yes. Although it's Nutcracker season, and today is the first performance of the Nutcracker for my youngest daughter. So now the debate is: do I go ahead and wear this to the Nutcracker tonight, or
yes?
We'll see.
No, you absolutely do. Having been to years and years and years of Nutcrackers, yes, be all in. It's amazing, and there will be a day when you will miss going to see the Nutcracker.
Absolutely.
In this way. So.
Yeah. All right, so we have a lot to cover. Taking a week off, we took the worst possible week off. As far
as soon as we were done recording the last time, friends. So this was 2 weeks ago because we didn't meet last week because of Thanksgiving, and so 2 weeks ago, within hours of us saying goodbye, I'll see you in 2 weeks. OpenAI nonsense, hit the world, and Lenny was grabbing the popcorn, and I was seeing other people sharing on LinkedIn saying, I got the popcorn to watch what was happening with Sam Altman. So how do we bring people up to speed who didn't pay attention like we did to that whole debacle?
I mean, I think you summarized it really well earlier. So let's just say that, and then we'll get, I'll talk about the secret insider stuff.
Because So here's the deal, folks. I know that some of you might be getting a little tired of us talking about AI because we keep thinking it's not going to keep dominating our lives at any minute now. It's been a year since generative AI was launched in ChatGPT, and at some point we're going to stop obsessing. But it is this disruption that just keeps on giving, and that for those of us in the industry just have to keep paying attention to it because it is quickly, having just working knowledge of prompting is so the least of it right now. It's just moved that fast. So 2 weeks ago, Sam Altman, who, was the CEO of OpenAI, he's ousted by the board, right? They say, yeah, we're done with you. And then the president at the time, Greg Brockman, was like, okay, I'm resigning then. So now that's happening because he's like, I'm not going to be here without Sam Altman. I'm making that up, but that's what it seemed like when we read it. Okay, and then other people wanted to resign. And then the board said, okay, fine, maybe we'll reinstate him. And so we were all kind of like, wait, what's happening? Meanwhile, Microsoft is like, oh, you know what? Both Altman and Brockman will head up our new division, their new advanced AI team. And then 500 OpenAI employees threatened to resign, which, by the way, I didn't even realize there were that many, but that's fine. Then Mark Benioff at Salesforce was like, they can come and work for us. So it was like, what is happening with these very large players in this space? And it was a bit of a mystery. And then all of a sudden we find out over the weekend, pretty much. And then it was oh, guess what? Sam Altman's back as CEO of OpenAI, as if it all had never happened. And then we stopped talking about it. Right. It was like, wait a minute. Some really serious stuff was going on there that had a lot of people to me, all of that, whether it's rage quits or whether it's, forcing people out, that kind of drama means there's something else going on. So if you missed all that, buckle up because it happened. And now we're starting to get hints as to why. So Lenny, why don't you tell people kind of what is happening with this other big mysterious Q thing?
Yeah. So I guess go back to the beginning, right? OpenAI was originally founded as a nonprofit with Elon Musk as the primary investor, as a protective layer to kind of guide the development of AI, so it doesn't become a threat to humanity. That was the core. And this board, that was their job. So it's a nonprofit that controls a for-profit business,
right?
Which is unusual circumstance. And apparently now what's coming out, and actually Altman did confirm a leak, and he would not comment on the leak other than confirming that it was.
But he confirmed it. He called it a leak, which implies something specific was leaked, not just a rumor.
Yes,
that's why semantically that word leak matters.
Yes. So, and there have been comments that he had made prior to this that something to the effect of, we need to start thinking about, instead of a program, a creature. So apparently the deal was that there were some pretty amazing and massive advances that were happening with the new product that seems to be called Q, that very well may be general intelligence. Not all the way to sentience, but pretty a massive leap forward from what we're seeing right now. The ability to think.
And didn't I read in something that we shared back and forth, and maybe it was Musk who said it. I don't know whether it was you or Natalie who found it, but something about like in 3 years, like we're looking at 3 years before artificial intelligence has the ability to learn kind of at to be fast, to be smarter than every human, like basically, like
right.
Intellect.
Yes. So apparently the engineers working on this, Sam Altman didn't share it with the board, who he was supposed to. Engineers sent the board some type of notification, said, "Holy shit, this is happening." They fired Altman for lack of transparency on this, and now that board's gone.
Yeah,
that's the other piece of all of this, and we'll have to see where the guardrails are. But what's happened since then is there have been multiple leaks from supposed insiders within OpenAI, happening on things like Reddit and 4chan, and where these things always happen. But they're pretty consistent, and they're pretty detailed on talking about what this Q application can do, or this Q program, or whatever we want to call it, can do. That it contextually learns. It's LLM. I'm not even sure is the right way to think about what this does.
I don't know either because I read something about it learning kind of elementary math, for example, but the way it sounded like learning it in a very human way, like not just being taught the formulas or anything like that at a higher level, but actually mimicking kind of human learning, which is very different from what we all think like machines instantly get it because they're programmed that way, but this is learning
and some of this leak, which again, not confirmed, so we'll see where this goes. But that it graduated from that to breaking supposedly unbreakable ciphers, and doing it in seconds, and rerouting its own neural networks so it could pull in more information and learn more effectively. I mean, some real sci-fi, scary kind of stuff. Potentially, we'll see.
Go ahead. No, you go.
I was just going to say the operative point here is why do we keep bringing this up?
Yeah, why do we care?
Moving so fast, right? And not only the difference between a year ago from the original launch of ChatGPT to GPT-4 that's out now, or the leapfrogging of ability and capability is amazing. And you and I this week, just yesterday, got to see a fantastic example of the application of these technologies. We'll give a quick shout out to, well, it's still under stealth, so we won't do that.
I think we.
Yeah, we're not supposed to say it. Okay. We saw an application. A application that it's wrapped, so it's all the LLMs underneath.
Yeah.
But it's happening underneath. The application's like any other application we would use, and it was purpose-built for marketing. And I mean, it's a whole marketing department.
Yeah, and what's interesting about it is, sorry, sidebar friends, but I also had another demo for an AI platform for content, right? So for content production and all that, and during that demo for that particular product, they referenced a different AI for content platform that was built into their platform. And the big takeaway after kind of all these AI demos, or AI tool or AI enabled demos, I guess is what we're having here, is we're actively leaning into all these demos. Everybody should be actively leaning into all the demos. Like, just sign up to learn all of them. If it's because maybe you can use a product that you're getting the demo for. If you can see how other companies are using AI, it can stimulate your thinking. Use it as stimuli for your own ideation about what is possible. Because right now, I think what the world is showing us is that it's possible. There's all of these possibilities that are opened up, and true innovators are going to recognize that that's what all this is. Like right now, there is creative fodder everywhere.
Right.
And you just have to start paying attention, because not just to streamline your own operations, but to develop potential business use cases and to, potentially differentiate yourselves with something new. What else is possible?
Yeah. I was talking to a good friend of mine, shout out to Rolf Swinton. And we were chatting last night about companies choosing to be fast followers.
Mm-hmm.
And in this environment, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
There is no such thing as a fast follower in this environment, because, if you wait 6 months, it has changed.
Yeah. Yeah.
It has changed dramatically. To your point, you must embrace these things right now, because we're through the hype cycle.
Yeah, we really are.
Yeah, now it is pragmatic, practical applications, and they are transformative.
Yeah.
In a few weeks, we'll be able to talk about this platform that we saw yesterday, specifically. But it is our marketing manager wanted to just let me have this right now, because it's a game changer from a productivity and efficiency standpoint.
Yeah,
and that's when we think about the insights world, we're beginning to see that. SurveyMonkey launched a full AI powered generation of surveys based off of the millions that they have, in their database. Those type of things, it changes. So we are such a process dependent industry.
Yeah.
And these tools absolutely disrupt and transform processes.
Yeah.
And we have to engage and understand where we fit. We do data. They're all driven by data. I continue to be incredibly optimistic. But the process, that's changing. It already has changed. It's the old quote of William Gibson: "The future is already here. It's just not evenly distributed." And that is where we are. And we keep talking about these things because that is where we are. So
there's, to that end, there were two pieces of content that hit our world this past week that will bring you up to speed if you are one of those people that has just been resisting it, which I'm having a hard time believing the people listening to us. We've beaten this dead horse for a while now. But both Escalent and Bellamy, two stellar research suppliers in our industry, shared great thought pieces. One of them from Escalent was on the history and impact of generative AI. So that one we'll share the link for. It's worth checking out. And Bellamy Research shared, navigating AI's true impact on market research. So they're kind of, I think both of those are, reflective, but also really good, because it's good to reflect now that we have, we have some absolute history with generative AI, the way we know it, thanks to ChatGPT. So anyway, so check out those two resources. I think Carly is sharing them right now, at least on LinkedIn. We'll get them into YouTube for sure at some other point too.
So Amanda just made a comment. Actually,
I'm trying to read
it. It is interesting. Everybody saw I'm sure the Elon interview this week, that the one snippet that blew up. But there was and you referenced it, a piece of that. There was an interesting conversation before he said what he said about advertisers. About it was tied to your, it was tied to legal challenges around IP, around copyright. And his position was that these, by the time these challenges get to court, we'll already be light years beyond where we are now. That was his point.
For those who are watching on YouTube after the fact, I just want to read, before it goes away too, I want to read Amanda's comment, because they may not be seeing it over if they're paying attention on YouTube. So just so you know, Amanda says, the concern with AI is, how is it going to manipulate our data? It has its place, but should it be released on our personal and banking data? She's not a fan. So anyway, just kind of letting you know, that's the comments that came into us that Lenny then, shared an example.
Right. and those are pragmatic for our industry. Those are pragmatic examples. I am very aware of client brands resistant to the incorporation of generative AI because of concerns around access to their data, and I have the same personal concern as well, Amanda. So
well, in good timing, Civic Science, released this this kind of product, basically saying that they are quite a claim, solving the generative AI trust issue with their newest, consumer insight product, which is supposedly using some of their internal data to counter against hallucinations, and kind of their ability has been upped in terms of being able to spot what's fictional in some of the generative AI responses. So I think that issue is going to be a big one, not just our privacy, but then we link quality, right? It's a privacy and quality, man. We never stop talking about privacy and quality. But those two things are at the forefront right now.
Yep. And we've been saying for months now, the role of data collection, particularly panel companies, and Civic Science is not a panel company per se, but they collect an immense amount of data every day, is effectively as AI training sets and as quality insurance components. So hats off to John Dick and his team at Civic Science. Hope they do well. I also hope that every other panel company pays attention and is thinking we need to do similar things, because they should be. It is a logical extension of these data assets that we have to be validation points, points of truth for the systems, the AI systems to reference and leverage in new ways.
Yeah. And if it's one thing we learned in, this is such a good setup for you in just a minute, in the grit report from data collected last spring was that, and we've talked about this before, that maybe on the podcast, maybe not here, I'm not sure. But anyway, brands are reliant upon suppliers to shore up, the quality issues and make sure data privacy and all of that area of trust. They're trusting their suppliers to focus on quality and privacy and all of those issues where integrity and trust and ethics are, at the forefront. So it's up to the vendors in our business to really lean into that. So learn from them and see what you can do at your businesses.
Yes, and is that the segue, the shout out that
shout out to Grit.
Shout out to Grit. The newest wave of Grit just launched this morning. And truly, Grid is always, the intention of Grid has always been to, as a tool for the industry, to understand what's happening within the industry on both sides, buyer and supplier. And we saw some really amazing things when in the last wave, which was in Q2. Really encourage everybody, because this is the one where we get into the nuts and bolts of process and methodology and the way that we conduct our business. And we need to see exactly what type of effect these changes we're talking about are having in the industry. Grid is a vehicle to do that. So please, there will be a post there. There we go. There's a link. Take the Grit survey, please, because we need you to tell us what you're experiencing and what your views are, so we can put it back out for everybody else.
And haven't we learned from some of the conversations we've been having about the participant experience with this iteration as well? Is that something that we should be talking about a little bit of incentivizing for the first time?
I don't think it's available for the general link, so that's just been shared. That is a personalized link in order to it's a technical component. So if you get an email to take Grit with an individual link, take it. For those that use the general link, the incentive is you get the report and you get all the data and all of our thinking, so you can do your job better. So please do participate.
All right. Excellent. See, without a net, Lenny, sometimes I'm just going to be. Anyway. All right. So here's why, though. I mean, even the incentive of getting the report, kind of, when it first comes out and all that, I think to me is also a value add. I always like to be like, oh, I did that survey, I'm getting that report. Like it it feels right. But there's another thing that I wanted to call out, which, our friend Karine Pepin shared on LinkedIn also about engagement and how much survey takers actually get. And it was interesting because she shared on LinkedIn, and we can share that link as well. She shared that survey panelists are earning, and if she used herself as an average, she took about 300 surveys last year, which is really interesting because she was in the business, but I'm not going down that path. Maybe they weren't asking about, if she, should have been booted out because of that, but maybe they're not asking that anymore. I don't typically take surveys, so I don't really know. But anyway, when she did all the math, it was like 72 cents an hour. Now, I'm not implying at all that survey taking should be a full-time job and therefore should have, a high wage attached to it. But boy, that's not really worth a lot of your time. So, we need to keep pushing to make it worth people's time to take these surveys.
We do. And so shout out to Karine. That was great. It was really the graphics put together was fantastic. So definitely encourage you to check it out. We have an engagement issue, and let's connect the dots here, right? In a world of generative AI powering how we engage with technology, the efficiencies, the experience, et cetera, and people are so pulled this way different directions from a content standpoint. I mean, the content ecosystem continues to fragment, exponentially, blah, blah, blah. There's tons of reasons for people not to participate in surveys, and we make it a shitty experience. And I'm just going to put it out there, right? Yeah. And especially the efficiency gains we were trying to achieve with routers and with River Sample. Totally get it. That makes absolute 100% sense from an efficiency standpoint. But when we had a fairly unlimited supply, that wasn't so bad. But in this fragmented ecosystem, our supply is constricted. Yeah. We must rethink the process. We must engage with people in the way they want to be engaged with, and we must reward them appropriately. Our industry is going to have to change. It's a fundamental economic issue. Got it. Right there with you. Right. Yeah. But we can't kick this can down the road. Yeah. We cannot, because here's the alternative. And we saw it this week. You and I saw it yesterday. Yeah. This tool created personas that were accurate. It basically created a new segmentation persona for a target audience off of readily available public data. And it was right. There was not much more. If it had pulled it off of the grid data, it wouldn't have been any different.
So interesting. And we didn't even plan to talk about sort of synthetic, participants yet, but yeah, it really accurate personas. And therefore it gives, once you see it, all the reason why you should, do these demos for companies that are offering that, because once you see it and you realize, boy, that resonates, or that feels surprisingly accurate, then suddenly it opens up the possibilities to why that could be a viable, research integration, because it checks, right? It checks.
It checks. Cool, really. And my real point on that is, there is still going to be a need to have last mile data, to have consumers engaging, participating, validating. That is a necessity. Yeah. But their fragmentation is not going to get is not going to decrease. And we are just going to have to bite the bullet and pay them what they deserve. Yeah. To participate. We just have to. There's no way around it. Yeah. So in that showcased it right there. I mean, I wouldn't do. I don't do things that unless it makes me happy. Oh, yeah. Or I feel some moral obligation.
Yeah.
Or I'm getting paid.
Yeah. Yeah. Paid somehow, some way. I mean, yeah, even a cup of coffee. I'll do a lot for a Starbucks. So what? Talking about $5. Pretty much I'm very easy that way. I don't need a lot. That's not what I'm saying. And even that, or if I'm getting a report, if I'm seeing something earlier than other people, if I'm getting intel that not everybody has, if I'm if I'm getting something that's going to feed my brain in addition to, feed my caffeine habit, like all of it is, you have to give something if you're looking for the outcome, because you can't rely on people like the people in our, fabulous industry who are vested in the outcome, right? I think, people that take grit, and shout out to everybody who takes grit, you're vested in the industry and learning from it. And the premise of this particular report, which is, to bring industry information to all of you. So I think that we can't count on everybody being vested in, I'm looking around to try to say, is everybody really vested in, the latest survey about, their soft drinks? Probably not. They probably don't care. It's
probably not.
Soft drink or,
and we can be disrupted, guys. I 1,000,000% believe that the market research industry, as at its core, has a bright future.
Yeah.
But some pieces are going to be, we're not going to own anymore, because it can be gotten in other ways. And that's just the reality. We need to embrace it and understand it. So the pieces that we do own, we damn well better invest to make sure that our most important asset, which is access to consumers, is working as best it can. All right, I'll get off my soapbox. I know we're I think we both knew we were going to go right up to the 30-minute line this week. Trying to.
I know, and we didn't even talk about something also. So, which we can hopefully keep tracking and talking about next time, which is what's next for AI. And this whole idea of the workflows and the multi agents, where your chatbot will be talking to AI and you won't have anything to do with it. So there's a great post that you can just read on your own. Allie Miller, she's an AI entrepreneur and advisor and investor, and she talks about that's what's coming next, folks, is the workflow, the work stream that AI is a part of, that we may, or AI not a part of, that AI is actually one AI to the next. And talk about streamlining our work processes and our efficiencies. When that starts to happen, buckle up, because it's much more than just generative AI. It's connecting all of the different. It's a little bit intense. So check out that. There are hundreds of comments on that particular post from Allie. So it's a pretty cool read for those of you who are tracking that. So we have a lot to pay attention to.
We do, and that's our job. And so we're going to keep on doing that. Let's save the Market Nation thing for next week. That's kind of evergreen.
Yeah. No, I agree. That's a good idea.
It's a cool topic. We'll cliffhanger, guys.
Maybe next week what we'll do is we will talk a little bit more about, every week we keep saying, let's stop talking about AI and talk about more about consumer behavior and other things.
And 'tis the season to talk about consumer behavior.
'Tis the season to talk about commercialization and all for it. That's what we'll talk about next week. But also next week we're probably going to be having to talk a little bit about IAX behavior, because friends, it's next week. I cannot believe that it's December. We have such a great virtual event. Most of it's free. If you pay the premium, you get some stellar workshop content, including, which way am I pointing on my thing? Including one, being led by that guy right there. So Lenny, tell everybody a little bit about what you and Greg are doing.
So Greg and I are going to do a workshop, everything you need to know about non-conscious measurement tools, what it is, how to use them. Here's the use cases. And then from there, Will Leach is going to talk about all the brilliance that Will always brings. And the I haven't met Sam. What is Sam's?
Sam Evans. He has another fantastic kind of applied behavioral scientist, basically. So or researcher using applied behavioral science methods. So sandwiched right in between there. So the workshop day is going to be a treat for those of you who really want to roll up your sleeves and come away with not just inspiring content, but also hands-on application, specific tools, a couple of giveaways from Will in particular. So join us next week for IEX behavior. I think Carly's already sharing those links. And we will then be back again next Friday, maybe with a different sweater, maybe with a different hat.
Maybe. Yeah, I gotta say, so Bridget, love the hat. Come on. What? No love.
Oh,
No love.
there's love for the sweater, Lenny. There's love for the sweater.
Next week, I have this elf one that's really bad, and I'm
Be
going to
very
wear that
afraid,
next week.
friends. Be very afraid.
All right. I guess that's it. We're out of time.
That's it. We're out of time. Have a great week, everybody. We'll see you next Friday.
Thanks, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.